will you take Emily to be your wife? Will you love her, comfort her, honor and protect her, and forsaking all others, be faithful to her as long as you both shall live?
I will.
Emily, will you take George to be your husband? Will you love him, comfort him, honor and protect him, and forsaking all others, be faithful to him as long as you both shall live?
I will.
I, George, take you, Emily, to be my wife, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better, for worse,
for
richer, for poorer,
in
in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death us do part, according to God's holy law. In the presence of God, I make this vow. I, Emily, take you, George, to be my husband, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death us do part, according to God's holy law. In the presence of God, I make this vow. Emily, I give you this ring as a sign of our marriage. With my body I honor you. All that I am I give to you. And all that I have I share with you. Within the love of God. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. George, I give you this ring as a sign of our marriage. With my body I honor you. All that I am I give to you. And all that I have I share with you. Within the love of God. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. In the presence of God, and before this congregation, George and Emily have given their consent and made their marriage vows to each other. They've declared their marriage by the joining of hands and by the giving and receiving of rings. I therefore proclaim that they are husband and wife.
Forever to touch you, 'cause I know that you feel me somehow. You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be, and I don't wanna go home right now. And all I could taste is this moment, and all I can breathe is your life. And sooner or later it's over. I just don't wanna miss you tonight. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And you can't fight the tears that ain't coming, all the moment of truth in your lies. When everything feels like the movies, Yeah, you bleed just to know you're alive. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am.
If you were driven into this field today and you're wondering how you're going to get out, you can't. No, the exit, there is an exit, bottom of the field, right in the right hand corner. So if you feel that gravity is against you, please head that way. If you get stuck, speak to Edward. I'm sure you won't get stuck. But any problems, please let us know. The other thing is just a word of caution. We have got a high level of police activity in the area, so if you are thinking of having a few shandies tonight, don't know the area and think you'll bounce off the hedges back to your hotel, please take a word of caution. Not a good idea. So if anyone is stuck for taxis or lifts home, again, speak to Edward and I and we will help you, hopefully. Yeah, we're not going to offer you to drive you home, but we will help you get home.
The goat shed.
Yeah, we'll bed down with the goats. So with that, I will now hand over to Mr. David Verney Jr., father of the bride.
Thank you very much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, friends old and new. Thank you, all of you, every one of you, for coming and joining with us to celebrate the marriage of Emily and George. I mean that. I don't think we can put a value on families and friends, and it's quite heart-rendering to find that our families have intertwined. Two people I would mention, Goffy, who read the lesson, sorry, Michael, is it? Has done quite a bit of work for my brother-in-law, Tim. And Rob, where's Rob? Rob, who's one of the ushers, I met him at the stag do, which was absolutely wonderful. We went playing polo. And George, myself, and James were on the winning team. But Rob won the cup for the best polo player. But the point of my story is, Gerald was a neighbour of ours 40, 50 years ago.
Rob's dad.
And that's Rob's dad. So our families have intermixed. I've got lots of friends out around West Somerset, and a lot of those friends that told us, or I realise now, had known George and told us what a wonderful chap he was. And actually, Dad, you'll be interested in this. Roberta had a card from Robin Grant, and some of the other people here might know Robin Grant, wishing us a happy day today. So that's another friend who's a friend of both families. And we're blessed with the weather. If I'm perfectly honest with you, I got terribly hacked off this last week. I saw the farming forecast, or I heard the farming forecast at 5 to 6 on Monday morning. And they said we were going to have some dry weather, then we we're going to have some rain come through on Thursday. We cut grass on Tuesday, we baled it Wednesday, so that was great, that was out of the way. We were trying to drill corn and everything else. We knew there was another band of rain coming through, well, Thursday, and then we knew there was another band coming through on Saturday. What can you do about it? You know, we got the marquee in the field, we can do all we can. To keep on looking at the blinking iPad to see, it frankly wound me right up. And last night, everybody said, well, they didn't say to me, but it was muttering around, David's a miserable old bugger, what's he doing? What's the matter with him? But what we did was, last night, George and Emily went out on the front lawn. Sorry. We filmed this. George, you must tell them what you did.
We buried a sausage. But to anyone driving down the road, there was in fact 2 boys, 2 girls, a dog and a spade all off to bury a sausage in the garden with. That's rather odd, but...
Raw sausage.
Yeah, raw sausage. But did it work or did it not? Because apparently it's a tradition that if you were to bury a raw sausage the night before your wedding, it's good luck for the weather and you'll get sunshine. Well, we popped 2 sausages in the hole last night and we had some sun.
That's mostly due to Caroline True. Where's Caroline?
Over there.
Thank you, Caroline. It's obviously your advice that got us through today, weather-wise. So, thanks all for coming. And then, when I was thinking about the speech, I was thinking about how we actually got here. And I was talking to Roberta just a minute ago. My great-grandfather came to this parish 120 odd years ago, and of my generation there were 9 cousins, and three of us are still farming in this parish. So we're either a boring old lot, or we love where we live and we love being here. But then I thought further back, and I thought, well, if my ancestors hadn't come across the English Channel, I might, instead of being a peasant farmer in North Devon, I might still be a peasant farmer in Normandy. So there we go. And then I was thinking about George and Roberta and your family and how you got here. And I'm led to believe that Richard, George's dad, was an accountant in London and they were living in Hampshire. A very successful accountant, I understand, and their company wanted to relocate to America. And then Roberta and Richard decided they didn't want to go to America and relocated in the southwest and ended up in Dunster. So how lucky we are that that happened and you didn't go to Dunster. America. And, sorry, I've had too many sherbets. So with that in mind, I would like you to charge your glasses and raise a glass to absent friends and relations. Absent friends and relations. I'm not sure whether it's my job to thank the people I'm going to thank, but I don't want to steal George's thunder, but I really have to thank my wife for putting up with me for 30 odd years. No, for doing all she's done over the last over the last 6 months, but particularly over the last week. She's been the main flower lady. Joshua and myself went picking foliage last Saturday. We had a wonderful afternoon collecting foliage, and then the flowers were delivered on Monday, and it's been full on. Laura and Meg also lent a helping hand there, thanks to you both. They're very supportive daughter-in-laws, and I've got 2 wonderful sons, and we wouldn't have got through this without everybody's support. And latterly, Roberta's been here with us, George and Tom, Rob, Richard, where else? Everybody else. Who have I missed out? James, Katie, yeah. Thank you all. It's been, it's been a bit stressful, but it's been fun. And I kept on saying to them, we'll get there in the end, and we have got there, I think. Lynn, catering. I think I also ought to thank Lynn for the food that she provided. Come in, Lynn.
Come in, Lynn. Yay!
Thank you. You've done a really good job, Lynn, and we do appreciate it. No, it's. We originally thought we'd have belly pork because that was what George and Emily really went for. Then we felt that not everybody likes to eat pork, and we asked Lynn at quite a late stage if she could put in another main course, and she's done it. So thank you for accommodating our wish and doing a good job. Someone else I ought to have thanked when I was talking about preparation, Angie and Georgina. Angie, Dawn's sister, and her daughter Georgina came down on Wednesday, and they kept us fed, kept us watered, and just kept the kitchen tidy. You fed us, Ange. We got up and walked out, and you picked up and cleared up, and then sometimes there was 10 or a dozen of us in there. So thank you for coming down and doing that. Also, Janet Cummings brought up she knew we'd got a lot of people here, brought up a ham hock the other night for us to just carve off the ham. Janet and Keith actually own this field. I'll talk more about that. But Janet, it was very touching that you just came up and did that. It's wonderful. Gwen, our harpist. Do you remember the first time we met? Yeah. She was a sweet girl. I met her when we dropped Emily at Harper Adams, the first day we dropped Emily at Harper Adams, and met Gwen in the corridor. She was in the room opposite. You haven't changed a bit, Gwen. You're still as sweet as ever. But also, that friendship, 6 or 7 years ago, Edward was planning to go to America, travel, and do the 12,000-mile harvest. It all went horribly wrong, and Edward was down in the dumps, and he was just very disappointed. Emily got to hear what had happened. By this time, Gwen was with John in Cambridge. John was a farm manager, understood that they wanted a student. To cut a long story short, Edward went to Cambridge and had a wonderful time, learnt an awful lot. So John and Gwen, real friends. That's what we've got around here. All of you are real friends in your own way. Major Kelly Richards. What can I say? Thanks for getting here, Kelly. You've had a pretty hard, tough tour. We haven't been able to contact you. We hadn't even made a name place out for you, but you got here. You're another real good friend. I can remember picking your horse up and you coming back here hunting years ago. You were in Emily's equestrian team. We got really fond memories, and congratulations to you on your success in your career. Janet and Keith. First cousin Janet. Farm here at Eastwood. So we've carved their field up to put a marquee here. Emily's always had the wish that if and when she got married, she wanted the marquee in Frontfield. But this is a rerun of 50 years ago. Janet and Keith. Janet was born at Cross, where we live now. She's my second cousin. Yeah, my second cousin. And Janet and Keith got married in this field 50 years ago, back in May. So I think it's only right and proper that you charge your glasses and stand up, be upstanding and drink a toast to Janet and Keith. 50th anniversary.
Janet and
Janet and Keith. Janet and Keith.
Woo! Woo!
I do thank you both sincerely for allowing us to use your field. Keith, we both got wet through this morning trying to put rubber mats down and get the water to stop running under the tent, and really, really do appreciate what you've done. You've not only helped us today, but I would suggest that you've been quite formative in Emily's upbringing. Even if it's just the fact that you've taught her what a good gin is. Alistair, come on. You know it's true. But Emily, I think you agree, she looks beautiful today. You look nervous, darling. She's a PMD. Who knows what a PMD is? Come on, somebody must know what a PMD is. Go on, George.
Pony mad daughter.
She's a pony mad daughter, yeah. And the first pony we bought, we stabled at Eastwood. Janet, well probably Joe and Nikki, platted the pony up and brought it up Christmas morning outside Cross. knocked on the door. Emily went to the door, and this pony was there. Well, it was a blinking hopeless pony, wasn't it? Then we had another one, and that one was hopeless as well. They just wouldn't go. They're fat, lazy. You can imagine a Jethro joke coming out here. Not today. Anyway, the third time lucky was a pony that Janet and Keith managed to get for us, Katie Mack, on loan. Now, this was a tremendous pony. Kelly, you must remember Katie Mack. God, blimey, the fun we had going off to gymkhanas and 3-day events, cross-country, dressage. That pony was bomb-proof. And you had a lot of success on that pony, didn't you? But we had 1 or 2 tantrums as well.
Wouldn't believe it.
I was a bit of a, well, I am a title arse, I suppose. Never managed to buy a proper trailer. Because why? What's wrong with a livestock trailer? It's got 4 wheels, it's legal, and everything else. So we used to use the livestock trailer. But the real pits was the day when the livestock trailer was hitched up to the tractor. Oh my goodness. We can't do that! Oh.
Thanks, Dad.
But we went, didn't we, Emily?
Won everything.
We won everything. And for those of you who know Jim Hayes, he was so annoyed because we beat his granddaughter. Yeah. Katie Mack went on to loan to someone else, and I hope they had as much fun with her as we did. Then Emily had a horse bought locally, a real feisty thing, wasn't it? Couldn't do anything with it. You loaded it up. You needed to be moving. If you stayed in the yard 2 or 3 seconds, the blinging horse would be kicking the side of the box. We still got dents in the box now from that blinging horse up. But I think it taught you a lot, Emily. You became a lot better rider. You had to hang on. And actually, to her credit, that horse went and was ridden by the master of Devon Somerset Staghounds, and he said he'd never had a horse like it. So, credit to you. By this time, we thought, we sold that to the Staghounds. We thought, great, especially the boys, we are free of horses. Fantastic. Blimmin' horses, they're nothing but a nuisance. And at the time, Emily was working in Tewkesbury for a land agent. And she came home on one weekend and collected up all her stuff, her riding boots, her whip. Careful of the whip, George. So. Hat. God. What are you doing, Emily? Oh, Barry's wife's got 2 horses and she can't get on with either of them. Now, to cut a very long story short, we had Fleur on loan. We still got her here now. But we had to buy her. Emily bred from that horse. And we had a lot of fun breeding from, well, no, we had a lot of fun. You had a lot of fun, didn't we? We took her down to the Uphams, which is another family relation. And we showed the mare and foal. I felt really out of place in the show ring. But we had fun. We got absolutely wet through at Oakhampton one day, didn't we? Honiton, rather. Yeah, Honiton. So you see, we got lots of fond memories. Although I moaned and groaned about the horse and the horse thing, lots of things I've done with you, we've done together, Emily. We wouldn't have otherwise done. So a lot of good comes out of bad, doesn't it, really? But I ought to just tell you, really, a little bit about the foal. Because we had to clean the shed out, clean a special shed out, CCTV, everything, just because this mare was going to foal. Nothing happened. So she'd gone overdue and still nothing happened. So I said, well, just let her out, Emily, and see what happens. Let her out, and within 3 or 4 hours, I went up over the farm. God, there was a foal. I rung Emily. I said, Fleur's foaled. She thought I was winding her up. Didn't believe me, did you?
I'd been up all night watching it.
You've been up all night. Anyway, a day or two later, I had a text message, and I wasn't into texting, but I replied to her text message, and the text message was, are the mare and foal okay? I text back, Fleur and PITA are fine. So Emily was in the office and said to the rest of the people in the office, I don't know what Dad's on about. I've got a text from him. He's never texted me before, but does this mean anything to you? No, it didn't mean anything. She came home in the night and she said, I don't understand your text, Dad. I said, well, the mare was fine and the pain in the arse was fine. And the horse, the foal, was named Pitta. So
It stuck.
it stuck, yeah. Now, Emily's not only been involved with ponies, she's done a lot of other things. You enjoyed your speech and drama, you played the flute, you've been pretty successful in your business in the last 7 years, Emily. Thankfully, you got a good business partner in Caroline.
Yep.
George, you came on the scene. Now, there's a bit of a story behind this as well. Yeah, If we go back to West Somerset, and Viv and Jill Selleck farm in God's country. There's heaven out there on the eastern end of Exmoor and looking towards the Quantocks. Absolutely fantastic. Well, Viv and I thought it'd be quite a good idea years ago if arranged marriages were back in situ. I mean, you don't have any messing about, do you? Viv and I knew each other well. We'd got 2 really eligible boys, and I thought Emily would be suited. It'd be quite a good idea. So that was that. We went up there one day, and we were walking around, and we managed to get Emily shut in the shed, didn't we, Viv? Now, I'm not sure whether you were trying to kidnap her or I was trying to get rid of her. But it all went horribly wrong when she started screaming the house down.
I was in there for hours.
You weren't in there for hours, don't be silly. She was in there looking for kittens, but then that's another story. Now, Viv and Jill's eldest son went to Harper, and we sent Emily to Harper, but still it didn't materialise, did it? Then Andrew got married, Ben was engaged. And 2 years ago, we've been fairly busy. James had gone to Taunton to a family. Will, where's Will? You'd invited Will Venn. Where is he? Just there. You'd invited James up to a barbecue, a party, wouldn't you? Saturday night. So James said to Dawn and I, can we go and pick him up in Taunton? Yeah, we'll pick you up, we'll go out for a meal. Came back here and did the work. It was autumn time, this time of year probably. And Emily got the 2 horses. I'd done the work that I'd got to do. And I'd just come into the yard, it was dark. Emily just about finished her horses. She said, what do you think, Dad? I've had a strange invitation. It's Ben Selleck's surprise party at West Quantocks Head tonight. What should I do? I said, for heaven's sake, Emily, there's no question about it. You got to go. I wanted to get away from the flipping horses, really. I didn't, monkeys. Anyway, we took Emily to West Quantocks Head. Then we went and had a meal in Taunton, picked James up at about 12 o'clock, got back to West Quantocks Head about 1 o'clock in the morning. And I thought my taxi days had finished, really. Grown-up kids, and I was still driving around the blinking countryside. Got to West Quantocks Head, and Andrew Selleck and Ben Selleck come out. They were speaking in tongues. Do you know, David, we've got just a chat for Emily. It's an arranged marriage. George Mills. He's a really good chap. He'll be just a chap for Emily. We couldn't find Emily. Eventually, Emily comes out, smiling like a Cheshire cat, never said anything about George. That was that. So home we get, 2 o'clock, 2:15 in the morning. I thought, oh dear, what am I doing? But, bizarrely, and Poppy might have had something to do with this. Pops, come on, Pops. It might have been you, mightn't it, a little friend? Emily and Pops go to Weston-super-Mare to a young farmer's do about a fortnight later, and the rest is history, George.
You can thank me later, George.
So, without further ado, I would really warmly welcome George to our family, Roberta, and all your family and friends. You're a wonderful chap, George. You're always smiling. Whatever happens, you always seem to come with a smile on your face. So, without...
I missed it.
Without...
Oh dear.
Without further ado, I'd like to reiterate my thanks to all of you for being so supportive and so friendly to us all. And I'd ask you to be upstanding to the bride and groom.
David, thank you as well. Some of that was true, most of that was true. Yeah. No, on behalf of my wife and I, I'd like to thank everyone today for coming here. It's lovely you could all make it, and really just like to also raise our glasses to absent friends and family, please, if we could. To start would be fantastic. Absent friends and family. Right, so I'm not very good at public speaking, but I've decided that because David's fantastic, I'm going to try and keep up with him and do this off the cuff, so bear with me. But we'd like to start really with thanking David and Dawn for making all this possible. We did a lot of wedding planning. I went to wedding fairs, never been to a wedding fair. It's brilliant, people give you free food and drink. It was amazing. And I thought that ended.
We're going next week, aren't we?
We're going next week, yeah. We're not going next week. And then that came to a finish. We decided what we wanted, and then wedding planning went on at home. But that was just as grand because every time we went wedding planning, Dawn would then cook a meal, and that was great as well. So it was really good fun. And as David said, in the build up to this in the last week, everyone's pulled together. It's been great fun. It's been fraction stressful at times, but we've enjoyed it, haven't we? It's been a really, really good laugh. I'd like to say thank you ever so much for that. And Tom has got something to give them. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Tom. Right on cue. That's what I like. Also on the thank yous, I'd like to thank the Castle family. Bill Castle did all the wonderful sign writing you'll see on the various signs outside. They let us go and cut down their bush of hydrangeas. Had nothing to do with burying sausage bushes, no, nothing. And so that was very kind of them. And also they provided the loos outside. Bill and Kath Hatt as well. We went and robbed their hydrangeas from their hydrangea tree. And that was very kind of them. So thank you ever so much. We really appreciate that. Liz and Goffey as well. Elizabeth Hames, where are you, Liz? Who did the reading earlier? Thank you, Liz and Goffey, for doing readings. That was very kind, and they were fantastic. And we're so pleased to be part of today. Thank you ever so much. It was brilliant. So now Tom's on the ball. He's also going to go and get something for Angie, Dawn's sister, who, like David said, her and Georgina have been cooking away for anything between, 10 and 18 people every day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, 11s, supper. We've eaten, well, yeah, exactly. So, Angie, where's Angie? There's Angie. Angie, thank you ever so much. We really appreciate it. It's been fantastic. And also the wedding cake as well. It was, yeah, it's lovely. Thank you ever so much, Angie. It's so kind of you. Gwen? Where's Gwen? There's Gwen. Gwen, thank you so much for playing the harp. Sorry?
Let's do some presentations.
Oh, do some presentations. Alan, would you stand up, please, Angie? Gwen as well, as David explained how Gwen and Emily met on the first day at Harper, and I know Gwen's very close to Emily's heart, and thank you so much for playing today. It was wonderful. And also, thanks, Mum, for everything you've done. Tom has also got something. There we go. No, thanks for all the help. We've had a bit of a busy year, haven't we, Emily?
We have.
With changing jobs and buying a house that, instead of taking a few weeks, took 13 months?
13 or 14.
14 months, including actually renovating a house that wasn't ours, technically, which is a bit different, but we managed to get there, didn't we? And then plan a wedding as well. So it's been a bit of a emotional roller coaster this year, hasn't it? But we've got there and we're still smiling and laughing, and it's been great fun. It really has, and I wouldn't have wanted to do it with anyone but you, Emily. It was absolutely fantastic. Love you to bits, and just been thrilled about today. Been looking forward to it so much, and it's been fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you.
Also, Tom should have some flowers for David and Dawn as well. Just to say thank you ever so much for the hard work and effort you put in. It's really been wonderful. Thank you. I know David touched on it, but we'd like to thank the Cumminses as well, because we approached them and said, can we use your field for the marquee? And not only use it, we brought in a digger, a dumper, a tractor. Because believe it or not, it's on a bit of a slope, and there's now a few hundred tons we put in there and changed it all around, and thank you ever so much. Very kind of you. It's made Emily's dream come true, hasn't it, Emily? Brilliant. And also, one other person I'd like to really thank is Nigel McPherson. Nigel's starting looking shocked now, but Nigel was one of my college lecturers, and he did an awful lot for me, and spent a lot of weekends making things, fixing things, and he taught me a lot more than just what was at college. So no, thank you, Nigel. I'm in debt to you. But right, well, this is the bit I've really been dreading now, is handing over to Tom, because I've absolutely no idea what he's going to say, and I'm just going to hand over.
Tom, on behalf of all the bridesmaids, ushers and myself, I'd like to start by thanking both George and Emily for asking us all to be part of their special wedding day. They've both put a huge amount of effort into today, both in the planning and the setting up of the marquee, and all the other bits associated with it. I can only hope that this wedding has exceeded their expectations, and the only thing that won't is probably going to be this speech. Now, I understand that it's customary with the best man speech to tell some stories to try and embarrass the groom. I will say in my defence that both George and I share a very similar sense of humour, so if this speech is in any way unfunny, it is his fault. The bridesmaids, as everyone has mentioned, have done a really, really cracking job. You all look great, only obviously outperformed by Emily, who looks completely stunning. Now, shortly after George asked me to be his best man, it suddenly dawned on me that I needed to make a speech. Those of you who know me well will realise I'm not a natural public speaker. So I did what everyone else would do in that situation and took to the internet for some hints and tips on what a best man speech should contain. Unfortunately, 2 hours passed and all I managed to do was get sidetracked onto eBay looking at Land Rovers. This point does, however, bring me swiftly onto how George and I met, around 7 or 8 years ago. I was happily working for a local Land Rover repair specialist when this dapper-looking chap turned up, driving a very smart Land Rover. He walked over and boldly introduced himself. "Good morning, I'm George." And then proceeded to explain how he was really looking forward to working here. My initial reaction of, oh no, he seems annoying, looked like it was going to be an accurate one. I soon learned, however, that this initial reaction couldn't have been more wrong, and our friendship grew from working together there on a daily basis. A lot of the spare time we had whilst working together was also spent messing around with various vehicles and anything mechanical. Those of you who know George well will also know that he doesn't do things by halves. He's one of the most determined people I know when it comes to mechanical matters, but this can also stem into other things, such as the Ferrero Rocher tower that he insisted on having made yesterday. The good thing is, he also likes to have a good laugh at the same time. He also seems to have the capability to talk his way out of many an awkward situation. Perhaps this is why he's ended up being a successful salesman. I'll give you all an example that I remember well, where he managed to use this skill better than I ever thought possible. We were on our lunch break at work, and he needed to pop back to his house to get some tools that he needed that afternoon for work, so I thought I'd pop along with him. At that time, George was driving a pretty tired 20-year-old Peugeot that he had found in a hedge and had somehow managed to wiggle through an MOT a few months earlier. We had been to his house to collect some tools, and were on the way back to work, when a local policeman decided to pull us over for a chat. After taking a look around the car and performing lots of head shaking, the police officer poked his head into the vehicle and asked George to jump out so that he could show him why he won't be driving his car any further today. The rather serious-looking police officer then proceeded to show George that he had a headlight that was completely missing. This was caused from driving the car up bridle paths a few evenings earlier. He also had missing fog lights, other lights that didn't work, along with a multitude of other bits and pieces that the police officer took great delight in showing him. At this point, rather than admit that he shouldn't be driving it, George, in his normal way, proceeded to explain to the police officer some far-fetched story about how all the issues had suddenly occurred and that he'd planned to fix them all that evening after work. He then mentioned that he worked at a local Land Rover specialist and was on his way back there now. By this point, the police officer had mellowed slightly and shared a fact with George that he owned an older Range Rover. I could see George's facial expression immediately change, as he knew this was the way he was going to be able to steer the conversation away from his knackered Peugeot. After exchanging pleasantries with the police officer and giving him advice on how to fix a few issues that the police officer had been having with his own Range Rover, they both shook hands and George jumped back into the car, having received only a minor slap on the wrist. As we drove away, smiling and waving at George's new best friend, George then turned to me and said, "I'm glad he didn't look too hard underneath. Everything under there is held together with cable ties and string." I can only imagine that George's smooth talking had something to do with getting Emily to agree to marry him today. On a slightly more serious note though, it was obvious to see that George was head over heels as soon as he met Emily, and I'm sure you'll all agree that they make a fantastic couple. I also had the privilege of being at that young farmer's party in Weston-super-Mare where they met. I wish them both an infinite amount of happiness for the rest of their lives together, and it now gives me immense pleasure, and dare I say it, relief, to invite you all to raise a glass in a toast to George and Emily, the new Mr. and Mrs. Mills.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, George. Thank you, Dad. Three very intriguing speeches, and can't follow it. So let's party on.
That she's back from the atmosphere with drops of Jupiter in her head. She acts like summer and walks like rain. Reminds me that there's time to change it. Since the return from a stay on the moon, she listens like spring and she talks like June. And tell me, did you sail across the sun? Did you make it to the Milky Way to see the lights all faded? That heaven is overrated. Tell me, did you fall from a shooting star? Born without a permanent scar? Or did you miss me while you were looking for yourself out there? Now that she's back from that soul vacation, tracing her way through the constellation. Ooh. She checks out motor while she does tap go. Reminds me that there's room to grow. Now that she's back from the atmosphere, I'm afraid that she might think of me as plain old Jane. Tell the story about a man who was too afraid to fly, so he never did land. And tell me, did the wind sweep you off your feet? Did you finally get the chance to dance along the light of day and head back to the Milky Way? And tell me, did Venus blow your mind? Was it everything you wanted to find? And then you missed me while you were looking for yourself out there. Come on, people, come and join me. Can you imagine your love, fried deep fried chicken, your best friend always sticking up for you? Even when you know you're wrong, can you imagine your first dance, free drive, romance, 5-hour phone conversation, best soy latte that you ever had? And tell me, did the wind sweep you off your feet? Did you finally get the chance to dance along the light of day and head back to the Milky Way?